What's going on, everybody? I hope you're doing fantastic as always. Today we will be continuing with another branch of landscapes, which would be foliage, so plants, trees, that kind of thing, rocks. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up our YouTube tutorial project, and if you haven't been following along, that's perfectly okay. We're just in a third-person project with just a simple landscape and some water added. Now, if you don't have water and you just want to catch up, that's fine. It does not affect anything for the moment. Now, what we're going to do to add foliage, because we want to go easier than harder. Now, we've been doing manual methods first, but in this case, we're actually going to do automatic placement. And then later in the video series, we'll talk about manual placement, because that's actually more complicated and does, depending on what part we're talking about, does end up requiring materials, which we haven't talked about yet. So we're going to talk about auto. And since this is a YouTube tutorial series, we're going to pick a free auto foliage adder. We're not going to require anything that's paid. So what we're actually going to do is open up the marketplace. And what we'll be using is landscape, this one right here. So go ahead and download this. It is free. And we're going to add it to project. And we're going to pick our YouTube tutorial. Alright, so you can see now we have a folder called STF. We're going to open that up. We're going to open the environment, landscape, V2. Okay, so like 7 folders deep. One right before, we're gonna right click the one right before the world demo. And what we're gonna do is create a material instance, and what that is basically a linked copy to the one we just right clicked, meaning that we can change it and tweak it and it won't affect the main one, but if we change the main one, it will affect the new one, which is very useful. So we'll be doing this a lot, creating instances of the originals. So we're going to call this one YouTube material. Okay, now that we have our material, we are going to go to our outliner. One detail I have changed off video is actually I moved this details tab. It was up here like like this, and I like it down here, so I just did that. Anyways, let's go into our outliner, which is up here. We're going to find our landscape. Make sure you click it, and then in our details tab, we're going to go down until you see landscape material. There's other materials, so make sure it says landscape material. We're going to drag and drop our newly created material onto it. Now you'll notice it didn't work. Well, it did work, but it doesn't look like it worked. What we need to do is go into landscape, go into our paint. At the bottom, you'll see our layers, and what we need to do is hit the little plus, weighted blend layer normal, save. And we're gonna have to do this for each one. Okay, now let's, since this is really flat, let's make this a little more interesting. You can see it's auto doing the rocks, the grass, which is pretty interesting. You can see the auto material is working. So let's throw in some foliage now. What we need to do is go to the procedural foliage part of the STF, which is right here, environments, procedural foliage. Go down to the bottom. You'll see new procedural foliage spawner. Let's go ahead and throw that down there. We're gonna navigate to our out of landscape into selection. And what I'm looking for is the thing we just threw down. Looks like it didn't actually throw it down. It's not letting you move your procedural foliage spawner onto the map. You need to go to Edit, Editor Preferences, type in Foliage, and check Procedural Foliage. We can close this. Now we can drag it out there. That's what the issue was. Alright. So now what we're going to do is click on Perspective, go to left, okay, so what I did there was I went back into selection mode. I found my sky sphere. I clicked on the eyeball next to it. And I scrolled down. I went to my new procedural foliage spawner. And I clicked F on my keyboard. Whenever you click F on something on your keyboard, it will automatically zoom you to it. So what we are in is a perspective mode. We clicked on perspective and went to left, and that takes us changes the perspective to the left of what the object is. We can also do your different perspectives, so top down. And what we're going to do is now hit R on our keyboard. Alternatively, you can come up here and press that right there. And we're going to start just dragging this to fit, essentially, where the area we want for foliage. I think this will be a good test right here. Let's bring it back a little bit so it's not in the base. Okay, so that's a top down. Let's go to the left, and we're gonna want it, let's say, all the way up the mountain. Okay, now we can see it's in that area, which is perfect. So now in our details tab for our procedural foliage spawner, we are going to click load unloaded area and re-simulate. Look at that. Let's go into our base, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our player start and just go back to move. We don't want to scale it, and we're just gonna put it outside the base and hit spawn. Okay, you can see a bit better. So this is on low, as recording is pretty taxing while running as well, but it still looks pretty good. in comparison, let me show you a paid one that I have purchased for the game that's being developed. I'll show you kind of a comparison. This is a free one. It's my first time using it, and yeah, we'll see how it stacks up. Alright. So you can kind of see the difference. I don't know, personally I think this one looks quite good, but I think the other one, for being free, yeah, I think it's a great tool, something that's well worth learning how to use, especially if you have nothing, and it's so much faster than manual. And then the benefit is you can do the auto and then go back in manually and add in things you want to tweak as well. Not even tweaking the auto material, just tweaking what it did. So there's a lot to do with this. I know I kind of showed it pretty simply, but what you can actually do with this is pretty crazy. So be sure to play with it a little bit and just you know, use it how you think you can use it, really, because yeah. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. Leave me a comment, a like, a subscribe. I appreciate it. Be sure to check out my Patreon to help support the channel and the development of this game I am working on. We will also be adding code snippets once we get to the blueprint section of our series to Patreon, so you can like kind of just grab code and plug it into yours to make stuff work, which will be very cool. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Catch you guys next video.